Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'll be sharing with you how I paid $100,000 in student loans within a year. So let's talk about that, right? So guys, today I'll be sharing about my student loans and the journey and all of that. But more importantly, I'll be sharing with you tips that helped me pay 100K, which is a lot of money. Tips that helped me pay $100,000 in about a year, which is a really short time to cough out that amount of money. So that's what I'll be sharing with you. So if you're planning to take loans or you already have student loans or really any kind of loans, I'll just share with you things that are super simple that I did that helped me like just settle everything in about a year. Things that you can also do to kind of help your situation and help you with paying back your student loans. So make sure you watch this video because you don't want to miss all these tips. So guys, you guys already know I put out a lot of like student loan videos, how to get student loans, how to apply for student loans and things like that, and you guys have found those videos really helpful. If you've not seen some of them, I have a whole playlist in the description box so you can learn all about student loans and getting student loans. But that is not the topic today. I think like I've been planning to share this do this video sharing about how I paid my student loans because I feel like it's important to kind of share a balanced or like give you guys a balanced picture. Like as much as I share about how to get student loans and how to apply, I also feel like there's a part of it that people don't really talk about, which is like how to pay back and how difficult it is to pay back student loans. Because see, applying for student loans, taking student loans is a lot easier than when you have to pay back that money with all the interest that accrue on your student loans. So that's why I wanted to share this video with you guys. And please don't take anything I say out of context or like don't try to misunderstand anything or try to say it's not possible or whatever. I'm just going to share with you what my experience has been, and this is like things that like they're truth, my truth. So just learn what you can from this experience and like what I did and see if they will be useful to you. So all of that said, let's give some background. Background is, you guys know I'm Nigerian. Grew up in Lagos my entire life. In 2018, I decided to go to business school. You guys also know that I went to business school at Yale and it was a great experience. But going to business school at Yale at the time in 2018, I got some really good scholarships, but I didn't get enough to pay. It wasn't like a full tuition scholarship, but it was very significant. But the other part of that was I didn't have enough to cover my living expenses. So I was going to school. Of course, I had savings. I had worked for, 5 years? I had worked for some years at the time. I had saved, but converting my naira cash. You guys know the struggle, right? If you're international, you know the struggle. Converting my naira to dollars, it just ended up being like nothing. And I also had like personal things like family stuff to use that I needed to take care of at the time. So I didn't have a lot for my living expenses, and a bulk of my money or a bulk of my student loans was to sort of like cover my living expenses and the balance of my tuition. So that is important context as to why I took the loans. You guys know that going to top business schools and doing an MBA, we all know it's a 200K journey, right? They call them the 200K MBAs because when you think about your tuition and living expenses, it usually comes around like 200K. But I took 100K because I had pretty good funding for tuition, not 100%, and then I had to use these loans for my living expenses and balance of my tuition. So that was in 2018. Of course, a lot has changed since then, but I got a loan, and at the time I used Quorum Federal Credit Union, which I've talked about on this channel. If you want to learn more about Quorum, I will link a video I did talking about Quorum and answering questions about Quorum in the description box so you guys can check it out. But yeah, I used Quorum. But before I used Quorum, of course, I applied to Prodigy, Quorum, and a couple other options, and decided to go with Quorum, which is a federal credit union in the US. And yeah, started school, and they would send the cash to the school. If you want to learn about like how they pay the school every semester, I also like have so many videos about that. So that is the background to like my student loans and how the journey started in 2018. Couple of things about my student loans. The loan, like Quorum in this case, but I'll just say loan company or loan provider, sent like 25K every semester, because I think I had 4 semesters to the school, and the school will basically take out my tuition balance for that semester and send me the balance for like my living expenses, and that continued every semester, right? But a couple of things that were important on that journey is from day one of sending cash to the school, I started like incurring interest. You guys already know that because I've explained in so many videos. But from the first day the loan provider sends money to your school, you incur interest, right? So that was my case, and even while I was in school, I already started incurring a lot of interest. I have my phone where I've written out some points, but so if I'm looking down. But the point is, I started incurring interest from day one. So even though I took a $100,000 loan, that was not how much I ended up paying. I ended up paying a lot more than that. I don't think I have the right or the exact figure right now, but I paid significantly more than that, even though the loan was like I paid off within a year of graduating. So I started in 2018, graduated May 2020, and I paid off the loans within a year. But yeah, I already, as a graduation in 2020, I wasn't owing $100,000 anymore. I was owing maybe 10K on that. I need to check the actual number, but anyway, the point is, what you took is not what you're going to pay back because of interest. So that's just one thing to kind of like check. And so now let's talk about how I paid back. The first thing, and I've shared this in a previous video, the first thing is I got a job, and I feel so privileged and grateful that I had such a job. Right before graduation, I got a job, and my job was the type that paid me in a lot of cash. So let's talk about this, and I'll share a video soon about how compensation works in the US, in Canada, in places like this. So that job paid me in cash mostly. So you guys know, like if you work in tech or other kind of companies, you get a cash component and you get a stock component of your compensation where they pay you in the company's shares. For my job, because I worked in consulting, a lot of my entire pay was cash, and I feel like that is such an important information to share, because even if you have a well-paying job in another company where a lot of your compensation is in shares or stock, as we call it, you don't have as much liquidity as I had. So I had a lot of my pay in cash, and I feel like that was so significant, and I just feel I should mention that. So because I had a job that paid me a lot, that paid me in cash mostly, I was able to use all of that cash to pay my loan. So that's the first point about like paying back. I got a job that is cash based, like pays in cash. Now, if you have a lot of student loans, it may be beneficial to get a job that gives you a lot of liquidity, a job that gives you a lot more in cash than say in stock. So that is just one point, but hey, not a big deal, right? Another thing is, when I got the job, and this is very typical for like big consulting firms, you get a sign-on bonus. So the moment you kind of sign that, hey, I'll be joining you, I accept your offer, I'll be joining you once I graduate, that kind of thing, they pay you a sign-on bonus. It's typical, and it's like good cash depending on the consulting firm. But you guys know I work in big consulting as at the time I'm recording this video. And they paid me a sign-on bonus. And guys, I'm not even going to lie about this, but that time of my life, you know what I'm saying? That time of my life, I basically, every money I got was going towards my loans. And that's it. My sign-on bonus, everything went towards the moment I got it, I paid the company. And like lump sums that I got, like when I took this job, I just paid I just took everything went to my loans. I was living a frugal life, and I think I've shared this a bit in a previous video. I was really living frugal, but let's come back to that. But the first point is around I got a job that paid a lot in cash instead of like stock. The second thing is I got a sign on bonus and used that. The third thing is in consulting, there's also your annual bonus. Even outside of consulting, there's annual bonus, right? So I got bonuses every year, and every single bonus I got, maybe mid-year they paid us something, at the end of the year they paid us something, guys, everything was going towards my loan. So those lump sums that I got from the company, either that sign-on bonus, annual bonus, and things like that, like I didn't touch it. Nothing came to me. I don't even have a car now, but we'll come back to that, okay? I didn't buy myself a car. I've not had a car in the US. I've never had a car. So I just paid my loans basically. That was a lot of like what I was doing, and I was like very frugal. I wasn't like paying very high rent. Nope. I was just like living basic, working from home, and that also helps me. Yes, that is such an important information. I graduated right in the middle of the pandemic. You guys already know the story. I didn't have a proper graduation, blah blah blah. And so working from home really helped me. There was no like transport cost or things like that. Everything I earned went to my loans. Now the third part, I think, is the salary. So my salary, and at the time I was working with the New York office, and if you know anything about New York, like working with a company in New York, you know that you pay crazy taxes. So as an international student, let's say you're in the US or in Canada, also pay attention to like the states where you work and the taxes in those states. I was paying crazy taxes. So paying $100,000 in less than a year and paying New York taxes, it is crazy. So think about the fact that a huge part of my salary goes to paying taxes, federal taxes, state taxes, New York City taxes, everything I was paying. So my salary, whatever came to me, I was also paying like maybe 60% of anything that comes to me every month, to pay down my loans. And so I had very little left, when you think about like just living. So basically I was so frugal, that's the point. So I got like my sign-on bonus, my annual bonus, and my salary every month. I was also paying down. I think at some point I was paying a lot, like every month, maybe, anyway, I was paying a lot. That's the point. Like everything, maybe 60 to 70% of what I got went into my loans, and the rest was maybe for food and just like living life, So I just wanted to provide that information, and now let's go to like what you can do, some of the things I did, some of the things I learned on that journey that you guys may find helpful. Okay, so if you're still here, let's talk about learnings and like things that I learned on this journey, things that you guys should know. The first is that it is a lot more difficult to pay back student loans than it is to take the loans. I see a lot of comments from you guys about like how difficult it is applying for these loans and you being rejected and stuff like that. I understand that is a struggle, that is tough. I don't know if I would have gone to business school without these loans. Point blank, that is it. I don't know how I could have paid. I didn't think I had a lot of like financial support to be able to pay. So I love that I took loans. I have no regrets, but I think I could have done some things differently. It is hard to pay back loans, especially the fact that you can have a 100K loan, you've paid 20,000 and you're owing 95K. And that thing will mess with your mind every time. Like, wait, what? I thought I took 100K. I've paid back 20K. Why am I owing 95K? But that is the reality of like paying back student loans. And anybody that has paid student loans can explain this to you. You're paying, but interest is a monster. That's what I'll say. So paying back student loans is really hard. So I guess the point is we all like want to live the life and want to be fresh and live life, which is good. But you need to have some level of discipline if you want to pay off your loans quickly. Now, I have friends that say like, why the rush, girl? Like, just wait it out. You have 30 years to pay these loans, it just wasn't the right call for me to wait. I thought it was best for me for my financial journey to pay back the loans really quickly. Some people pay over 5 years, and that's even fast. Some people pay over 10 years. Some people waited out 25 years, 30 years, and pay throughout the duration of the loan. But I just thought that because it was a high interest loan, it was not in line with like my financial goals to keep those loans. And I needed to pay it off and be done and just like go on to other things that I wanted to do. So that was why I decided to pay quickly and like put in everything I had, everything I was earning, into like paying back the loans, and I paid all of that. So I'm proud of myself. So that's the first thing. It's that it's hard to pay back loans, but you need a level of discipline to really make it happen if you want to do it quickly. And yeah, so that's just one point. The other one is that something I mentioned earlier, which is interest can basically double your loan in a short time. So when you are applying for loans and get to the point where you are signing the loan agreement and stuff like that, just pay attention to what the interest will be. What part of it is fixed, what part of it is variable. You see that variable part of your interest? It is crazy. That is the real monster, because if anything happens with the Fed rate or any rate it's pegged at, your variable portion, the variable portion of your interest rate will keep increasing. So I've explained that in previous videos, and I don't want to go over that. So check out those videos to really understand how interest rates work. But the point is, interest can make your loan really double in a short time or really increase significantly in a short time. So those are just things you should pay attention to. The third thing is you must be extra dedicated when it's tough. It is hard. I have always just been a very disciplined person. Not that I'm better than anyone or whatever, but I'll just say, as disciplined and focused as I am, sometimes it's hard when you feel like, I can afford this car. Why am I not buying this car? Why am I like jumping buses and stuff like that? Or I can afford this kind of house. Why are we living here? Why can't we like live with, where the kind of place where our friends live? And I just want to acknowledge that can be difficult, no matter how like focused and determined and all of that you are. So like, point is, you just have to like set your eyes on the goal. Think about what will happen if you buy those nice things and you just keep incurring interest, and it's a burden. It will keep pulling you down, especially if you're an international student and you got high interest loans. Now, if you're a citizen of the US or Canada, or you're a permanent resident, generally you get lower rates, like with Fed loan, like loans you get from the government. With even private lenders, you just get a lot better rates, and those ones you can decide, hey, I'm not in a hurry, I'll pay back within 10 years. But if you're international, I don't think that you have that luxury. So you just need to have a plan for how you want to pay back. You need to have an Excel sheet, okay? I had an Excel sheet then where I put how much I had to pay back if I needed to pay it all in 1 year. And I'll share about that in another video, but it's a real burden. It's hard for you to even, you just have to, there are some things you go through and you just feel like, man, I'll wait it out because, this is the only way I know that I'll be able to pay my loans, basically. But point is, it is tough and you just have to be ready for the work. And then I guess the last thing is, you feel a lot of relief when you're done paying your loans, especially if it's a high interest loan. You just feel a lot of relief when you pay down those loans. It helps you just feel good about yourself as well. So those are things that I learned on the journey, but bottom line is, a big part of how I'm so grateful that I had the job I had when I graduated, that helped me pay down my loans. And I'm super, super, super grateful for that. And I feel very privileged to have had such a job. Even if you have a job that isn't like super high paying, that is fine. I don't think my job is the most high paying, but I feel like I earned well enough to be able to pay my loans. But even if you don't have a job that's like super high paying, I feel like what matters most is the determination that, hey, I'm going to pay this every month and make it happen, even when it's hard. So, yeah, that's how I paid down. Maybe at some point I could share my Excel if you guys are interested and really show you guys line by line how I was paying. And yeah. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please let me know by liking the video and also subscribing. But if you have any questions about paying back student loans or a specific part of the journey you'd want me to share more, I am so happy to. I love talking about like financial education and financial independence. But anyway, if you guys have any questions about any part of these, any specific things you want to know, just drop a comment in the comment section. If there's a lot of interest on a specific topic, I will do a video and we can talk about it. I'm happy to share everything. Well, I'm happy to share a lot about the journey. And yeah, I just thought I should share this about how I paid back, and your journey may be different from mine. You may get a different kind of job. You may not even want a job. You may want to do your own thing. I'm also happy to like bring up some of my friends that paid their student loans and had a different kind of job, or a different kind of career path than I did or than I do. Yeah, so just ask any questions in the comment section and I'll answer. Hope you guys liked today's video, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.